Mansfield in the morning.
This morning we're speaking to Billy Gibbons, who of course is part of ZZ Top. He's very kindly going to help us out with Women and Men Against Child Abuse, which is a non-profit organisation established back in 1997. They've been in operation for 23 years and they continue to be at the forefront of raising awareness around South Africa for many complicated issues relating to child abuse. And of course, at the same time, they provide free quality treatment services to victims of child abuse through the kids' clinics. Raising money is something that needs to go on and on and on. It is a never-ending story. And of course, it takes a lot of effort. We're very, very honoured to have Billy Gibbons with us from ZZ Top. You're speaking to us because you've got a heart that really lines itself with charity, doesn't it, Billy?
Indeed, and I'm glad you brought up the background of Women and Men Against Child Abuse. They go by the initials WMACA, and you would imagine after 23 years, this raises the question of just exactly how can we maintain and focus a bit of attention toward this worthy cause? They are doing some excellent work in a very troubling field.
No, absolutely. No, but let's start with your South African connection, because you met up with Penny Stein when you were in South Africa years ago. Penny, of course, is the PR for Women and Men Against Child Abuse. And she said, hey, I need some support. I need to raise some money. And you said, no problem whatsoever. But let's go back to your trip to South Africa and when you met Penny. How long ago was that? And just let's reminisce a little bit.
Yes, this goes back to 1994. Penny was kind enough to provide promotional services for the promotion of bringing some entertainment down to South Africa. And we were just wrapping up a tour that closed in France. We were in Europe when the initial invitation to visit South Africa with the ZZ Top show came about. Addie Van Vick was the promoter, and we wound up, instead of one show, we wound up doing 5, which was quite a bonus for us. And of course, Penny Stein and her wonderful agency rolled out the red carpet, and we really got a first-hand look at what a remarkable country South Africa really is.
I mean, you guys have been rocking since 1969. So 70s, 80s, 90s, just released another album. I mean, do you ever get tired?
Well, unfortunately, I think we're standing along with the rest of the world that's waiting for the curtain to rise after this unexpected arrival of a contagion that has left everybody kind of scratching their head going, what is this really, and when does it end? I think what started off with some measure of novelty has turned into monotony. So we're standing alongside our friends and fans, followers, waiting to get back to work. I think fair to say that everybody's ready.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched one of your interviews, and you said the key to touring is actually making sure that each member of the band is on a different bus. Do you guys ever get a little bit tired of being with each other, or are you still best of mates?
Oh, yeah, we still, in fact, we're in the studio as we speak. Later this afternoon, here in Los Angeles, we resume work on a new record, and I think that, as you mentioned, rather humorously, we've kept ourselves together by touring on 3 separate buses.
It's like a good marriage. You need to be, in love with each other, but you don't have to be with each other all the time, right?
That's exactly right, and there's another element, an aspect to this 5 decades of pressing forward. I think we're always on the lookout to see who's going to make the first mistake.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a bit of a competition there, right? I mean, obviously mistakes happen, but I mean, you guys must be so well versed with each other that when a mistakes happen, you can sort of look at each other and just carry it off, and no one would notice.
Well, yes, we do have a slight challenge. We call it going to the Bahamas. That's when one of the players makes an abrupt left or right turn unexpectedly. Now, going to the Bahamas is not a problem. Sometimes it's the getting back from the Bahamas that's the real challenge.
Now, I mean, what about I mean, you're known for your gigs, and you've done loads of gigs around the world. I mean, technology has moved on. If you look at a live concert today versus a live concert in the 60s, or dare I say the 70s and the 80s, it's a totally different thing. Do you reckon that that's been part of your longevity? And do you embrace that technology in today's concert tours that you do?
Yes, one thing that we find fascinating within our own outfit is the willingness to continue experimenting and exploring these new developments, some of which might have been predictable, many of which were not predictable. But we really enjoy getting in and stirring it up. We had and still have a wonderful association with the recording studios, and it seems that we've managed to find those places that provide some of the most interesting ways to become expressive. So I think it's that creative force that allows you to go in and just kind of stick your toe in the water and see what splashes.
And what about countries? I mean, you've toured probably every city in most continents and a number of countries. If I was to say to you, best gig, city and country, which country would it be and which city?
Well, we always say it's the next one. We don't know exactly where that might be. We just look forward to getting out there and getting to the next one. It's part of the backbone of ZZ Top. I think that right now is probably the best time to start looking forward to wherever that may be. Hopefully, a return to South Africa is in the not too distant future.
Well, that we certainly hope for. I wouldn't mind seeing you guys live. I mean, 1994 is a long time ago. Let's talk about the new book, though, because Billy F. Gibbons, Rock Plus Roll Gearhead, written by, or should I say with Tom Vickers and photographed by a whole bunch of talented photographers, originally published back in 2005. 224-page book, which has been revised and expanded by yourself and your collaborators and released by Motor Books on June the 2nd this year in full color hardcover edition and, of course, with a hard case slipcover. Let's face it, though, it's about cars and guitars, and that's your thing.
Yes, indeed. We'd be hard pressed to get a gig without those trusty six strings. And of course, once you get the electric in hand, you got to have four wheels to get you to the show. So cars and guitars is it's a good place to start.
And the inspiration behind the book originally?
Well, we were invited to consider dragging out so many of these crazy, some people call them war clubs. And then it was also drawn to the unusual collection of these four-wheeled pieces of rolling steel that somehow keeps everyone's fascination running quite high.
I have to say that, I mean, I got a friend who's got a hot rod. I mean, are you into just buying the hot rods, or are you into like helping design hot rods, or what type of guy are you? Just, give me a picture.
Well, I have to take a page out of the book written by Jeff Beck, which it's fun to get in and drive them, but you got to pick up a wrench and work on them. These things are kind of like babies. They need a lot of fluids and a lot of attention.
So yeah, I hear you, and I have to say, my friend Sean, who actually built one, it took him years, and immensely proud, drives it on a Sunday morning, much to the delight of his neighbours, no doubt. Just guitars, though. I mean, you've got a whole range. How many guitars do you reckon you've got?
Well, we always say, and this probably goes for cars, we like the one that's working.
But I mean, is there a favourite guitar that you've got? Maybe one that you've looked at and brought out of the old, archive, or maybe the back storeroom and thought, oh, I haven't played with this one for 30 years. Let me give it a bash.
Yeah, we just recently came across a 1961 Gibson Les Paul. This was the transition year. They went from the figure-8 shape into the rounded and kind of pointed cutaway version. And just recently I was visiting with the head of Gibson Guitars, and they had seen a prototype, a bit of a modified version of that 1961 Les Paul. And we think that it might see production, probably by the end of this year, first of 2021. And this one is really quite the attention getter. We've wrapped our hands around the neck of this thing and can't seem to give it up. It is really a player.
Wow. And I mean, you've met guitarists, you've obviously, played with a number of musicians over the years, and who would you say either past or present, is one of the best sort of people to play with, or who would you like to play with if you had the opportunity? If, of course, they're no longer living.
Well, that's a good question, as we've just recently released, along with my good buddy Josh Homey from Queens of the Stone Age, and they revisited a package called the Desert Sessions. Goes back, this is the 15, 16, going into 17 volume. It's quite a bit of work, but I've really had an interesting experience working with the Queens of the Stone Age. They've got a really exotic outfit, I think is the best word I could use for these guys.
Okay, that sounds brilliant. So now, listen. Let's get back to the book, because you've actually very kindly, with Penny, you've offered one of these books. In fact, a couple, I believe, autographed as well by yourself. The Perfecto Mundo CDs, and we're going to auction them off here in Johannesburg to the highest bidder. Proceeds, of course, will go to Women and Men Against Child Abuse and Hot Cares. It's all about the charity. Our highest bidder will be announced on Mansfield in the Morning here on Hot 91.9 on Wednesday, the 26th of August. But, I mean, this is a very nice book. And, of course, the Perfecto Mundo CDs, nice collection to have.
Oh, yeah. We were quite proud of that. And I think that Penny's work is stunning. She's got a stellar profile around Johannesburg, and I think that by offering this personalized trophy, if you will, I think it'll go far to raise the awareness of the organization, and I think that the proceeds will be put to a splendid use.
And, of course, you won't be able to get these off the bookshelves here in South Africa, so this is sort of one of a kind, I suppose.
I do believe. It's quite a popular release here in the USA. In fact, the first printing has sold out, and we're delighted to be awaiting a new arrival. But it will be quite a prized piece to hold in Johannesburg. It'll be the ultimate rarity.
Well, Billy, we look forward to starting the bidding, of course, as soon as possible, which will be today on Hot 91.9, and hopefully we'll get a whole heap of money going towards women and child abuse. Women and men against child abuse. So what's up for ZZ Top post-COVID-19? You said that you're in the studios in LA doing a bit of recording at the moment. Just give us a quick snapshot. When can we expect a new album? And, of course, where do you reckon...
I believe the release date is projected 1st of 2021. That'll make it a nice way to get the new year started off. And there's plenty of rock and blues loaded into the grooves. I think that the good time that we're having in the studio is going to be reflected in what you hear coming out of the speakers. And that says a lot, especially to all of our friends and followers that listen in at 91.9 here.
Well, and you said that you might come to South Africa soon, or at least you'll certainly look at it. Where will the gigs, though, be initially as soon as you can get back on the road? Are you going to be touring North America, or are you off to Europe or Asia or Australasia? Who are the first fans to see ZZ Top post-COVID?
Well, we were initially scheduled to start a tour earlier this year, back in March, with a residency at the Venetian Casino and Resort in Las Vegas. And, of course, the postponement has put everything on the bit of the back burner, so to speak. But I think that as soon as we get some clearance, we'll start across the USA. We'll be delighted to cross over into Europe and particularly down South Africa.
All right, that's great. Well, listen, final question this afternoon. That beard, how many years have you had that beard now? We got, someone said, gee whiz, what does it take to groom a set of chin whiskers like that? And it's one word, lazy. Well, you must have seen, I mean, because let's face facts, right? The beards were in fashion, out of fashion, in fashion, back out of fashion, and they're sort of in fashion again now. A lot more men wearing beards. You've just weathered the storm, the whole way through. You don't really give a bugger, do you? You're just going to stick with what you had in the early 70s, and that's the way you're going to carry on.
Yeah, man, we're still trying to answer the question, do you sleep with the whiskers under the covers or over the covers? Well, we never know because we're sleeping.
Brilliant. Billy Gibbons, thank you very much for joining us. And, of course, have a fantastic rest of your year. Let's hope that the world gets back to some form of normality as quick as possible. But it's been a pleasure having you on Hot 91.9. And we'll hopefully see you in South Africa soon.
Simon, thank you very much, and